Good morning and welcome to the weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. My name is Barrett Smith. I'm the Senior Service Hydrologist with the National Weather Service here in Raleigh. And today is October the 3rd, and we're going to take a look at the weather for the upcoming week through October the 9th. I don't get to do this as frequently as I used to, so it's great to be on with you all. And I'm happy to have what should be a nice weather report for you for the upcoming week. We've got high pressure basically in control of our weather today, and that'll continue tomorrow, Friday, and into the weekend. There are a pair of cold fronts that are going to impact us over the next 2 or 3 days. The first coming on Friday, which may give us a chance of some isolated showers, mostly in the western Piedmont. Those will be very isolated, not a lot of impacts from those. And then a second cold front that'll impact us later in the weekend or more towards Monday. That's actually going to usher in a big air mass change, and we'll see temperatures dropping from what will be the upper 70s to low to mid 80s this weekend, back into the 70s, and even some low temperatures, perhaps in the 40s by the middle of next week. So a taste of fall coming up. I know that's welcome for many, both related to the recovery efforts from Hurricane Helene, and also if you're out and about at some of the various fairs and fall activities going on over the next several days. A welcome dry and nice weather period coming up here. I mentioned the chance for some isolated showers on Friday. There could be a thunderstorm in the mountains and in the foothills. Again, expect to be very isolated. That's really the only impact we have from thunderstorms over the next several days. Rainfall amounts, once again, you see just there on Friday, mostly in the mountains and the foothills. Some of that could work its way off into the Piedmont, but overall, over the next 5 to 7 days, most locations in central North Carolina, at least, are not going to see any rainfall. With no rainfall, there's no expected impacts from flash flooding over the next few days or really into the middle of next week. So again, very blank maps for us coming up, very nice weather. I'll note, and it's not surprising, while we had a little bit of drought going on in western North Carolina, the latest drought monitor indicating a completely, what we call a clean map, or no areas of abnormally dry or drought conditions. Again, not surprising that those improvements in the weekend. I'll note a few things here. A 31-foot rise over 3 days at W. Carr Scott up in the mountains, the reservoir there. Areas around Cullowhee basically took what was a rainfall deficit, reversed it, and went from a 4-inch deficit to a 3 to 4 inch surplus just from the one storm. Not surprising given the remarkable amounts of rain that fell out there. The farmers, I think, are telling us they're in pretty good condition given the rainfall, especially over the Piedmont and into the coastal plain, and wildfire activity is below normal. So aside from the impacts of Hurricane Helene, from a drought perspective, things are in good shape as we head into the fall. Out in the tropics, starting in the Gulf of Mexico, there has been a lot of interest there for potential development, and understandably so. The probability of development has actually dropped some over the past couple of days, with a less than a 40% chance of development, but still a chance of development there in the Gulf of Mexico. What does develop there right now, if it does, would not be expected to have any impact here locally in central North Carolina, as most of our models and that cold front that I mentioned show that storm potentially moving more across Florida and out to the Atlantic. So grateful, we're grateful that we would not have impacts from that. Out in the Atlantic, Hurricane Kirk and Tropical Storm Leslie expected to turn off into the Atlantic. So again, no Atlantic systems are expected to have a threat to North Carolina in the near future. I mentioned, as we look out towards next week, below normal temperatures, so you can see above. You can see higher probabilities of below normal temperatures there in the 8 to 14 day outlook, and dry as well, with 40 to 50% chances of below normal rainfall through really the next 2 weeks. So cooler and drier weather on the way, very typical of October. No hazards expected. Can skip right by this today. And so again, nice weather expected, no hazards. We'll see temperatures near to above normal this weekend, dropping back to normal or below normal as we head into next week with a nice air mass change. Note those 40s possible for low temperatures next week, and all in all, should be a nice week, perhaps even two. So with that, I'll wrap it up. I appreciate everyone joining the weekly briefing here, and hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.